one of the benefits of using a system like ours is that you can filter this customer journey down. So for example, I might just want to focus on what my marketing and sales teams are doing at the sort of top to middle of the funnel. And then I might just want to look at, all right, what personas are we targeting at those stages? So I'll leave my personas here. And then I want to understand the strategy behind it. So I'll focus on the customer action I'm optimizing for and the customer needs state. And then what I can do is I can just move this out of the way. I can expand all of those sections to see. All right, so I'm focused on the one persona for the first 3 stages, and then I've got a product buyer coming in where I'm influencing 2 different personas in this stage. My customer need at each of these stages is defined, and then I can optimize for the customer action here. Now, in this example, the customer action at the first stage, awareness, is just to engage with the brand. The next thing I want to do is actually use these filters to say, all right, well, how am I performing? And so I'll put on the performance tab, and this is where Domo starts to come in. We actually can see, all right, well, I'm optimizing for this customer action at this stage in the journey. And then I've embedded a suite of Domo cards that actually give me that insight into what's actually happening on that specific stage of the journey here. So I've got visits and posts here as a view on total engagement with my branded content. As a step into, say, the research phase of the journey, we've got my customer action is I want them to engage in my long form content, and that could be my white papers, for example, as a B2B marketer. And then this is my content action trend over time, and I can use Domo's projection capability to actually push that out. And then I could also interrogate that further if I wanted to let a user be able to do that using Domo's capabilities. The next stage, request for information, that's customer action, is what I want to optimize for, is a sales inquiry. So I can see, all right, what's my lead trend over time and what's my cost per qualified lead at that stage in the journey here. That's relatively stable. My lead projection is going down. For this month, I'm projected to actually over deliver on the previous month, but the general trend is downwards. So I've got to do something about that if I'm not going to deliver. So I've got a problem there. The next thing I can do is using this customer journey profile. I can see, well, what actual activity do I have going on at that request for information stage? And that's when you can start overlaying, all right, campaigns, content, and assets that you might be using, might be targeting at that specific customer action at that specific stage in the journey. I'll just look at campaigns for the moment. Now I can see we did have 2 campaigns that were active, but both of them have finished. They finished on the 14th of Jan and 18th of Feb. So I'm not actually executing any marketing activity against that stage. So no wonder my lead trend is going down. Next thing I can do is I can go back to my filters. And I can actually say, well, what is my team doing to actually address that? I know I've got a problem there. What are they actually doing here to address that problem? They're not doing anything really. There's only one delayed task, which means I might need to brief people directly on this issue from the customer journey map. So that's the first way we use Domo, to give people insight into their customer journey. The next thing we do is, that's at the top level. The next thing we do is we let them dive deeper into their marketing story. We do that by giving people individual campaign dashboards that are optimized and sort of filtered for that individual campaign. We use that again via Domo. If I go into the campaigns view, these are all of the campaigns that we're running in here. Each one has a dashboard like that. I can see the status of those different campaigns, who's working on them, whether they're active or whether they're finished. I can see this one is live here. This is a live campaign. Here is a range of tasks, and it's past its go live date, so it's on time to be. It's being delivered. It's been running for 75 days. It's basically spent most of its budget. Then there's a whole range of briefing and task management, creative management, and then we also have this performance tab over here. And this is where we embed Domo cards and Domo dashboards that specifically give us insight into this individual campaign. So I can see, all right, well, for this campaign, against its campaign objectives, how well is it performing in terms of, say, total click through and click trend. You can see the influencers that have posted content against this campaign that we have relationships with. I can see it in the context of my overall campaign traffic impact report and my campaign effectiveness by channel, for example. So I can get a sense of how this campaign is performing. And we can spin those up and embed them from Domo using the API for every different campaign that's being run on the fly. The final way we use Domo is through these analytics embed tab. This is where we give people, outside of the customer journey view and the campaign view, we then also let our customers use the full suite of Domo's power, and we embed pages and sub-pages and collections within our platform to reflect their broader marketing story. So depending on what it is that they're interested in seeing, there's changes for each customer. For example, their customer journey view might be how they're pushing prospects through a funnel, but then a marketing manager may just want to see the Marketo Domo dashboard, in which case we can build that into here, and it will be available to those users or the users who have access to that individual page. They can also see all of their journeys and all of their campaign reports in one place as well within this tab, in addition to seeing them in their campaign dashboards. So that's how we use Domo and the full power of Domo. Behind the scenes, there's obviously a team working on the build out of these for individual customers of ours. As we are a Domo partner, we implement Domo projects as well. That gives you a flavor of how we're currently using the system. Thanks.